Okay guys, welcome back to another video by Mr. Random, or one of the two Mr. Randoms. And today, I'll be explaining how to derive the quadratic formula, which of course is right here, x1, x2. The two x's are equal to negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And of course, we're gonna be starting from the standard form of a quadratic, which is ax squared plus bx plus c, and these are the a, b, c are the same ones over here, b, a, b, c. So yeah, I'll be showing you how to solve for x from here and turn this into here. Alright, so let's get started. Let me just grab out my pen. So first things first, when we look at this, okay, we have the solutions for x on this side, and then everything else on the other side. And over here, we have everything together on one side, and we don't want that. So first, we can see there's a coefficient of a next to the x squared, and we don't want that. So let's just start out by dividing everything by a. Divide both sides by a, and of course 0 divided by a is 0. I'm going to get x squared plus negative b over a, not negative b, sorry. So I just deleted the whole thing, but it's b over a, x plus c over a equals to 0. You can see here that these two terms, x squared plus b over ax, these two terms both have x in them, while c over a is a constant. It does not have x in them, in part of it. So we're going to move the constant to the other side and keep these on the left side. So let's do that and subtract both sides by c over a. Okay, let's switch to a different color. X squared plus b over a x equals to negative c over a. Okay, so now what do we want to do? We notice there's still an x squared term, and that's going to be pretty hard to get rid of, and we really don't want to do that. And we really don't want to have this x squared term over here, because as you can see, oh, I scrolled way too far out, but as you can see over here, we have the x is not x squared. And we certainly can't subtract both sides by negative b over ax, because this is not a constant. We would be moving the x term to the right side, and we don't want that either. So what can we do? Well, we can complete the square. By completing the square, we're going to turn the left side into a form that looks like this. The quantity of a plus b squared. Okay. And just to make things clear, these a and b are just random variables. I could replace them with any two letters. They're just supposed to represent stuff that they're not equal to the b and a over here. So what does this expand to? Okay, we want to figure out what that is to get this left side into that form. So if we expand it, we'll get a squared minus 2ab plus 2ab, plus b squared. And that's always true. You can expand it right now just to prove it for yourself, but that's going to be always true. So let's just draw a line right here. Anyways, let's get back. So how do we turn this left side, I know I'm repeating that a lot, into this? Okay, so first things first, we can see x squared. Okay, what do we see over here? A squared and b squared. But let's just say x squared is going to be the a squared part. So now we already know what our a is. Our a is going to be x, because we have the x squared over here. So now how do we figure out this b right here? Okay, and we can see the second part of the left side is plus b over a x, and this has an x in it. And since x is going to be a over here, and the only other a over here is here, so therefore this middle term must be equal to this part, right? So now we have b over a is going to be 2 times this value right here. It's going to go right over here. So we can just divide a b over a by 2 to get this value. So we get plus b over 2a, because, well, b over 2a times x, and then we multiply by 2. That's going to be b over ax, which is equal to that. So we know what our a and b, or a and b. But now we'll notice that we still have this b squared over here, right? And what's that? That's going to be b squared over 4a squared. But we don't have a b squared over 4a squared. And if we just leave it like this, it's not going to be equal. These two things are not going to be equal. So we need to subtract another b squared over 4a squared to make this equation correct, right? And finally, we're going to set it equal to negative c over a. Just keep that from there. Okay, so now, okay, I forgot to write the square sign over here, but yeah. And now it's going to be pretty easy. We're just going to move this negative b squared over 4a squared to the right side, because it's now a constant, and we can just add b squared over 4a squared to both sides. Okay, yeah. Okay. So finally we're left with x plus b over 2a squared is equal to negative c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. Okay, and we can combine these two terms into one, because we notice we have the denominator here is 4a squared, and the denominator here is a. So we can get this a to be 4a squared by multiplying both the numerator of negative c over a and the denominator by 4a. So this is going to turn into negative 4a times c. And then we're going to add b squared over 4a squared. Okay. This does not really look like a 4. Just tap. Yep. 4ac. And you can see it's coming along now. See, negative 4ac plus b squared. And we have b squared minus 4ac, and those are equal. Okay, so we have that. And then we're just going to take the square root of both sides to get rid of this square term. Or, not the square term. We're going to get rid of the squared, okay? So by taking a square root of both sides, we're going to turn this left side into x, and x plus b over 2a is equal to the square root of this. And we notice here 4a squared is a perfect square, because the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of a squared is obviously a. So we're just going to write over 2a on the bottom and the square root. And we're going to rearrange this into b squared minus 4ac. And finally, we're just going to subtract both sides. And remember, we have to take plus minus of the square root, because when we're taking a square root of something, we have to have the plus minus. Like, say, quick example, x squared is equal to 4. Be like, oh, x is equal to 2. No, x is also equal to 4. X equals to negative 2, because we need to take plus minus of that square root of 4. So then finally we subtract both sides by b over 2a, and we're going to get negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And yeah, we're done. Or these are the two solutions of x here, so technically shouldn't be just x, but you get it, right? So you can see these are exactly the same, and that's how you derive it. That's how you derive the quadratic formula. We're done. You can take a quick look at this, you watch the video, but that's 1 minute. See you next time.